today, fellas. Got all 3 trucks rolling all day. It has been a very, very good day so far. It seemed kind of long. Definitely seemed like a longer day. What's up, Joey? Definitely seemed like a longer day because it's like 30 minutes from the job site to the quarry that I'm hauling out today. Oh, thought that was a spider for a second. Like a little piece of fuzziness or something. About scared the daylights out of me. Earlier today I had a bee land on my elbow. I didn't need a repeat of that. Oh man, it was cool. And I snagged a picture of it. I sent it to both my drivers. I said, man, if you guys keep working as hard as I am, then you'll be able to afford one of these by the end of the year. You gotta work your tail off. You gotta work your tail off. You gotta work your tail off, you know? then we were stacking them up and making like a little snowman, but out of mud. And I told Mark, I said, I know I've made it because I'm at home spending time with my family, and I'm still collecting a paycheck. That's how I know I've made it, Mark. You know, nobody is going to be able to take that away from me. When you get to the point that you get to accomplish your goals, you know, I remember when I was working for big rigs, you know, getting time off working for that company was almost impossible. It was almost impossible. You could never get time off. And then if you did, your check would be like microscopic if you did, you know. They got you by the balls, it seems like, you know. A lot of these companies, they got you just so they're barely paying you enough just so you can barely survive. At least that's how it kind of seemed to me. And then I changed my lifestyle up, and then I started sacrificing a bunch of stupid stuff that I didn't even really need, you know. And then I didn't need as much time on the clock, so I could spend as much time with my kids. And but when I was working for them, I kind of made the decision, you know. I was like, man, once my business pops off, nobody's ever going to tell me that I have to work a certain day, or I can't go see my kids this, or I can't see my kids do that, or I can't spend time with my kids. Now I have the opportunity. I can do whatever the hell I want. At least that's kind of how I feel. But the grind really still hasn't really stopped, you know, it's still there. But now it's more of a, I get to choose when I want to do that grind, you know what I mean? Hours, you know, after I've already spent the time with my kids, you know. I was walking to my mailbox and back to my house, that's a mile. I walked there, I was walking back, and I just happened to be holding both my kids' hands, and my wife snapped a picture of us walking. And she said, you know, these kids love their daddy, you know. And I just think of all the times that, you know, I spent a lot of time with my grandpa, but I never, like maybe 1 week out of my whole life I spent with my dad, you know. And I'm not telling you this so you feel bad for me or nothing. I'm just telling you because this is my life, you know. That's just my part of my story, you know. A lot of you guys don't know. Cha-ching, make money in the old Screaming Jimmy. Got that right. Take a day off and your check's so small, it's like you're paying them to be there. Yeah! That's exactly how I felt, Blake, when I was working for the other company. I felt like I was paying them to drive their truck. You know, that's how I felt. Like, shoot, man, I get to wash the truck off the clock for free for you. You know, like, man, that's a blessing. They had me all twisted up, man. I was all twisted up. You know, today is really the first, like, the first full day of trucking where we're actually, all 3 trucks are running all day today. Like, I mean, like 10-hour days, 12-hour days. lot of you guys are on the same path that I'm on, and you're trying to start your own business. There is hope at the end of the tunnel. Just trying to shine a little bit of light on your tunnel, you know. There is some hope, man. We're doing $410 an hour right now, guys. That's what we're bringing in, $410 an hour. That's like almost double what a lawyer makes. I think that's double. I think they make like $200 an hour. What do you guys think about that? That is just nuts. Every time I think about it, I'm just like, man, this is not even reality. I still can't fathom it. It still doesn't seem real to me because we just started the business. It just seems like yesterday, you know? I go back and I watch my videos and I just still can't believe how hard we worked. And where we're at. A lawyer doesn't have to buy fuel. Yeah, you got that right, Brian. But a lawyer has to pay for that degree. And that was way more than my fuel bill. I can tell you that right now. A lawyer had to pay for that degree, and that's like $200,000-$300,000. So it ain't all rainbows and sunshine for those lawyers either. And they're trapped. You know what the sucky thing about lawyers is? Like, this is why I can never be a lawyer, right? You gotta see somebody's point of view, and then you gotta fight for their point of view, even if you don't agree with it. And then, you know, a lot of these lawyers, they do the same thing over and over. I mean, we do the same thing over and over, but like, they go to a court and they see these judges and they see these people that are going through hard times in their lives. I get to look out my window and see nature, you know, the beauty of the world, you know, all the new things that are happening. Like, I feel like I get to see, I feel like my view is better than theirs, personally. I mean, I just couldn't see myself being a lawyer all day. And they probably could not see themselves being a truck driver either, you know. But, you know, traffic ain't really bad when you're getting paid by the hour. If you think about it, you know, the more you sit in traffic, the more money you make. What's up, Kleckler? I figured I'd tune in. I was getting a little tired. It's been a long day so far. I think we're going to move a total of about 400 tons. Actually, no, more than that. Probably about 450, 500 tons today. Just me and the other truck on this job site. And then the other truck is working for Washington Rock. The other quarry, they're working for a quarry. We're working for a contractor today. Yeah, this is the big job site. I'll show you guys around real quick. There's the pile we're dumping on. You can see our dumps. They've just been eating that up. They got a guy loading. He's loading them, loading that big off-road truck. And then they'll take a big wheel loader and they'll load them up off the stuff that we've been dumping there too. How's that left knee holding up? Oh yeah. For me, it's not the left knee because I hardly ever use the clutch. Like, it's my shoulder, man. My shoulder starts killing me. I probably should skip gears, you know, but I don't. I just grab every gear. But my shoulder and my neck right in here, it hurts sometimes, man. It starts hurting. especially after a long day like this. You know, take my water bottle and set it back on there. That's the one thing the one downside to this business that I've experienced is definitely losing my hearing. There's no question about that. Losing my hearing and my shoulder, man. This truck beats me up. Somebody wanted to see how we were supposed to shift when we're loaded. It's the same way. This was a long time ago. I told them I was going to do a video and then I never got around to doing it. Shifting, you just got to get the RPMs up there high enough. And then once you feel like you're topped out and you feel like you can keep going faster, let off on the gas, shift. And then downshifting, you gotta cram that brake or do the Jake brake, get your road speed down, and then you can rev those RPMs really up, and then you just jam it in there. But you can only downshift if you know you can grab the gear. If you can't grab the next lowest gear, don't even think about it, because then you're out of control. You do not want to be out of control in a loaded dump truck. So always judge the hill before you get to it. You know, that's why GPS is such a good innovation in today's society, because man, you're gonna go places you've never been, and you need some sort of insight of what you're gonna face. And this weather is just absolutely gorgeous. I got both windows down, I got my wing window open, and I can still feel the heat coming off the floor. Alright guys, you guys ready to hear me grab some gears? Let's grab some gears when we get up here. Is there any way to make this a little bit taller so you guys can see? No, a little bit taller. Give me a second. There, now you can see. Alright, you guys won't be able to see my left foot, but just know that I don't use the clutch, only to start. And this is the splitter right here. This transmission is a little finicky with the splitter. So I have to split after I grab the gear. So now I'm up. Woo-hoo! We're going around that corner good. I had to slow down, there's a truck in front of me. Split. Can you see that? So, that's how I do it. There's a whole bunch of people that do it everybody's different. Some people hold the shifter like this and they finesse that thing in, but I can't do that. I can't shift like we I just manhandle that thing and I just know when to jam it in there. I do have a seatbelt on, guys. It's a lap belt right here. I got full went and pulled it up. He's like, oh, you got a lap belt. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm going to do a level 2 inspection or whatever, check everything, and check the lights and everything, and he dipped the tank for fuel, and just ran me through the whole thing. And then he dinged me because I had some dirt on my excavator tracks. When I left the job site in the morning, everything was frozen solid. It's like, there's no way to get it off. It's a freaking icicle. You're chipping at it, you know? It's like, sorry, buddy. Nothing I can do there. It's a freaking icicle. What am I supposed to be? Chip at it for 3 hours? I gotta take this call, guys. This is my driver. I'll be right back. My driver just called me. We're trying to coordinate how the day's gonna go. So, you know, just making sure that, you know, things are lining up. He usually hauls for the rock quarry, so he wanted to make sure that he wasn't gonna get, you know, head to the quarry and then not make it in time. So I was just kind of running him through it. Paperwork, you know, because when working for the quarry, the paperwork ain't that important, because the tickets is all that I really need, and they send me a statement with all the tickets on it. So paperwork is more critical when you're working as a rental truck. Very critical. They have to sign the paperwork. They get a copy. We get a copy. It's signed. You know, that's important. So, just making sure he was good to rock and roll. That's good, that's good. Loving it, loving it, loving it. All 3 trucks rolling hard today. We are all rolling hard. It's got to be 90 degrees in the cab. It's probably 70 outside. That's the one thing about these old dump trucks. You really got to stay hydrated, guys. You really got to be focused on your hydration. Drink water with you. Drink water, you know. I finally kind of splurged and got myself a little lunch box from Walmart. Here's my new lunch box, guys. It's pretty nice. It's got this little plastic bucket in. It's got a little divider right here. I got it from Walmart. It was like 30 bucks, I think. This thing is nice. It's better than having a garbage sack. My wife always used to make me the garbage sack lunches. You know, she would have a garbage sack and she would put my food and my water bottles in there, and I would just set it on the seat. But man, every time I would be taking off or hitting the brakes or taking a corner a little too fast, freaking that thing always seemed to be flying everywhere. Bottles would be flying everywhere. You know, I'd get to the dump site and I'd be picking up my lunch, you know, just so I could snack on something. Let's wait. We're getting paid by the hour. Let's wait. We don't need to jump out in front of that guy so quick. That's the nice thing about getting paid by the hour. You don't have to cut people off. I miss these old big steering wheels. I think the new trucks should have these old big steering wheels. They're so much cooler. You know, they're, I don't know, I just like the big steering wheels. engine is starting to lug, let off the gas. Slowly put your foot on the accelerator. Slowly bring the RPMs and keep constant pressure on the shifter, and then it slides right in. Let's just downshift another one just for the fun of it. See, just like that. Easy peasy. Then when you want to grab one, you grab that sucker all the way up and just pop it right in. At least that's how I do it. There's a timing, especially with this Detroit, there's a little bit different than a 4-stroke because the timing's different, but it's the same concept. 1, 2, pop it in. 1, 2, pop it in. 1, 2, pop it in. You know, that's kind of how, at least that's how I do it. Some people count faster, so they go 1, 2, 3, pop. Some people count slower and they go 1, shift. You know, everybody's different. Here's the thing that really sucks about manual transmissions. You may know how to drive. You may know how to drive amazing, but guess what? If the guy in front of you sucks, it's gonna suck. That's the cold hard truth about manual transmissions. If the guy in front of you sucks at driving, you're gonna suffer, because he'll be pulling a hill, he'll be dropping gears, and guess what? You'll be dropping gears. Unless there's some way to get around him, you'll be shifting more than you want to, you know? And then, next thing you know, then you got a guy that misses the gear and he has to stop on the hill. Guess who's stopping? You're stopping on the same hill, you know, which is not very fun. And on the gate. Yeah, buddy, coming into the Quarry. I might lose you guys coming in here. It's kind of in the middle of a mountain range. So, one thing I got asked kind of early on, one time from a viewer, I don't think I ever made a video on it. It was kind of like pit etiquette. Like when you pull into a like a gravel pit, what kind of etiquette is there? Like, what are the unspoken rules? You know, because they don't just hand you a rule sheet and say, okay, these are the rules. You know, here's some things that you got to know. Equipment has the right of way. That means off-road dump trucks and wheel loaders. They got the right of way. And like if they're moving a conveyor or something under the power lines inbound. Right? Also, another thing that's very important is like call-outs. Especially if you're going to a pit that is like, you know, back in the woods. Like a lot of the Washington pits are, they got a pit road. They got a haul road that's, you know, 2 miles long, and there are call-outs because the road is like this. Your first time, you're obviously not going to know the call-outs. That's just, duh, you don't know it until you know it, you know. But if you want to keep yourself from getting in trouble, you know, the best thing to do is just say something, at least say something. You know, that's the most important thing. You know, say, hey, you know, find some sort of a landmark, you know, that you would think would be common. You know, like for example, this road I just came down, the power lines, right? That's something somebody that's in here every day, they know where the power lines are. You know, they know where the yellow gate's at. They know where the big rock's at. They know where the bear's at, you know. They, you know, S-curves, you know, Duck Pond Hill, you know. There's lots of call-outs. Once you get into the pit, if it's a long, long road to get in, they'll usually have a call-out sheet. You can ask them, say, hey, you guys have a call-out sheet, you know? That way I'm not running into somebody coming into here. Generally, another thing you like to do is when you first get in, say hi to everybody, say good morning, you know, be as polite as you can. That kind of sets the tone for the whole day. If you're kind of a dick, then, you know, that's what goes around comes around, you know. This guy knows how to load a truck. He does very good. He does it nice and easy, you know. Plus it's sand too, so that makes it even easier for him, you know. And it's not frozen, so. Oh, I always like to say hi to everybody, joke around with them a little bit, you know. Tell them how the weather's doing, and, you know, ask them, you know, once you get to know them, then you can talk to them about, you know, you can be their friend and stuff. You know, which is what I always try and do. I always try to get people, know people on a first name basis. Right? Because chances are, you know, if you're going into the pit once, you're probably going to go in there a second time. So do not make a bad first impression when you go into a pit, you know. And it's just better to come out and say it, like, hey, you know, I haven't been to this pit in a long time. What's the routine, you know? Sometimes if you tell them it's your first time, they give you a hard time. So just say, hey, I haven't been here in a while. Which way do I go? You know, they're a little more understanding. If you tell them it's your first time, sometimes they're harder on you. You know, oh, this guy's going the wrong way, blah, blah, blah. You know, they can be real pricks sometimes. Just saying from experience, you know. Not personal experience, but I've heard on the radio, they can be real pricks. Especially if you don't got a radio. You know, then everybody's talking crap. Or if your radio don't work, then sometimes they're talking crap too, then. Everybody likes the guy whose radio that works good, you know, and they use it. Another thing to try and do is, you know, when the loader is getting ready to finish up, you always just look at them, you know, and then they say, yeah, it's good, you know, you can roll. You know, just once you've been loaded 10 times, then you know what it's like. Every time it's the same. You know, it's the same every time. You know, one full scoop, then a half a scoop. Then give them the nod, give them the finger, you know, give them the thumbs up. And always try and watch where they are, you know, because they're, those machines, you know, you don't want to get in their way, man. Those machines can do some serious damage to your truck. And a lot of them will give you the right of way. A lot of them will, you know, but don't expect the right of way. Always give them the right of way, and then, you know. Another thing you always want to do, first time going to a quarry, always get a lightweight, figure out if it's a one-way scale or a two-way scale. That's one thing you do not want to screw up on. You do not want to go across the scale the wrong way your first time. So always look and ask questions. VANDUYN 001 coming on. And when you're going across the scale, do not hot rod across the scale. They like it nice and easy on the scale. Look at them. Once they get your lightweight, they'll give you the thumbs up. They'll tell you to come in. I gotta go in and get my paperwork. I gotta go in and sign something and grab my paperwork, and I'll be right back, guys. But I gotta pull off the scale first, and then I'll keep talking to you about the etiquette, right? So don't go nowhere, but pound that like button while you're waiting for me. Okay. Damn. Got more people in here than when I left. Okay, so another thing. Etiquette. Some etiquette is very important. With like, always, you know, if you've been hauling to a quarry all day, right? You know you're going to work until they close. At least I do. I always try and work until everybody is shut down. That's just the way I am. So I always ask them, when I think it's getting close to the end, I say, you think I'm going to be able to make it back for another one? Because they're kind of trying to gauge when their day's going to be over. You're trying to gauge when your day's going to be over. And they may have a better idea of if you're going to make it back for another one or not. Let me count these. How many of these do I got? By 3:45, and they close at 4. But it all depends on that traffic too, though. You got to be very mindful of that traffic, because traffic picks up in the evening, so the turn time takes longer. And you want to let them know if you think you're coming back for one more, because here's what happens. You show up 5 minutes late, and you didn't tell her you were coming back for one more, then she'd be like, everybody already left, what the hell? You know? That happens a lot of times. You'd be surprised how often that happens. But I always communicate with them ahead of time, and I say, hey, it looks like I'm going to make it back for one more. I'm going to be right on the wire. That's what I always tell them. It looks like I'm going to be right on the wire, but I'm going to try my hardest, put the pedal to the metal, hammer down. That way, they kind of expect you to be a little late, like 1 or 2 minutes late, and you get that extra load in. They sell that extra product. Everybody's happy. Everybody gets the extra hours. And yet, they're not in the dark about it. It's when you show up 2 minutes after 4 and they're already shutting the computer down, and then they got to reboot it just to sell you something. That's when they get mad. Yeah. At the end of the day, you might have to cut a few people out to make that last load. But another thing that's always good too in the rock quarries is knowing where to park and knowing where to pull off. Because you don't want to park in everybody's way. Because those rock quarries are built around a flow. They have a workflow that you don't see when you're not there. They're moving material, they're feeding the spreaders, they're feeding the screens, they're feeding, you know, the shakers and the crushers. They're feeding all that stuff when you're not there. So, you don't want to mess up their flow. You know, if you're waiting on a call or something. So you got to know the nice spots to pull over, you know, so you're not parking in the way. You know, like one thing you don't want to do is, like, you don't want to park on the scale and go to the bathroom. You don't want to park directly in front of the scale and go to the bathroom, you know, unless that is the only spot you can literally park. Like, most of the time you can pull off the scale and back up and park somewhere off to the side. That's kind of a big thing, I would say. You know, do not disrupt the flow of traffic. That's when people get bent out of shape, is when you're going the wrong way or you're blocking people. You know, and then when somebody is parked on the side, just say, hey man, I'm squeezing right past you, orange truck coming on your left or something. You know, you just give them a heads up. Just say something to them. You know, that way they don't release the brakes and get ready to pull out and then look over and see you blowing their door off. You know? Sorry guys, this section of road is really rough for the signal. I did not have good signal coming out of the Quarry on this side. So bear with me. But back to Jake brakes. If you got an unmuffled Jake brake, then you're probably okay. It's the guys like my truck. A lot of times there's somebody who lives really close to the Quarry and they are complainers. A lot of times they will call the Quarry up. I need free rock because this truck woke me up, or he went blowing by my house and dusted everything and this and that and another. You know, they just make whatever they want up just because they want to complain. You know, so a lot of Quarries have that no Jake brake sign up everywhere. But honestly, my truck's so loud, even without the Jake brake, they'd probably still hate me. But a lot of the trucks, you know, have a quiet Jake brake. You can use a quiet Jake brake even if there's a sign. I wouldn't even stress it that much. Unless you got somebody really riding you, you know, they want to see your brake lights, you know. Oh yeah, traffic is definitely backing up. I don't know about that last load. She said I could make one, but I don't know. Dispatch for both of the supers tomorrow. What's up, Chaka? Alright, 350 trucks. Full of mud. Time ain't nobody got time. The operator's supposed to do when the weather's good, you know? Like, most of the time, you know, the mud doesn't fall off. It's the dust. When it's dust, everybody. But when it's like mud, like in Washington, that stuff does not fall off. That clay does not fall off. And if it does, and if it hits you, you're way too close. Let me just say that. If you get hit with debris, you're way too close. You should not be falling that close. You need to back up. Give them some space. You know, if you're giving them 200-300 feet, nothing's going to hit your vehicle. Even if it does bounce off, nothing's going to hit your vehicle if you're giving them enough space. I had a woman call me. This was the first time I got a call in my whole business. The first time ever I've ever been called by somebody on the road. Rob's calling me. There. I told him I'd call him back. That's probably his last load. But, stop and grab somewhere on the way home. It only goes 290 miles. You do not go over 290 or you might run out. So, anyways, guys, I gotta call Rob and make sure he's squared away. Make sure he knows to get fuel. I don't know if you heard me or not on the CB. We're just passing on the freeway. So I'm gonna call him up and make sure he's squared away, knowing that that's probably his last load, and you know, everything's